Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Let me first start by saying thank you. I am incredibly inspired yet humbled by the response and the comments from my last video about getting married after 50 after declaring myself forever single. All very true, nothing clickbait, and I don't know what I was expecting. I really do not. I had no expectations, just that to inspire, to uplift, and the reception has just really touched me in so many ways that I did not expect. So with that being said, it is my pledge to you as a community to move forward with intentionality and an understanding for the level of impact or inspiration that our dialogue can create. So this video, another soft life video. As you can see, I am up against the vineyard again. Actually, one of my comments mentioned something about filming, adjusting my camera angle so that the shot captures the room rather than the vineyard. Okay, that's easier said than done, because of the way the space is designed. But again, bear with me. I'm not a camera expert, so I'm fooling around. And today I decided to film from I think it's the east end of the vineyard, and it's a gentle rain, so it's really feeling so cozy. So it goes into this soft theme that we're talking about. So one of the comments I got. Thank you. I'm not going to shout you out simply because I don't want to call you out or anything like that, but it kind of tickled me. It was a guy who said, "So men can have soft lives too?" And I thought to myself, of course, why not? This is not a gender-based thing. However, it did get me to thinking, yes, soft life is, the idea comes off as very feminine. And I wanted to mention something very instrumental. So my last video about getting married over 50 has done outstandingly well. Again, I'm overwhelmed by the response. I think the last I checked, it was almost at 13,000 in 3 days. So thank you so much for sharing in our story. So that's number one. So this comment was on my soft life video. Okay, and I realized that it straddles into the marriage video in terms of how my husband and I actually came into each other's lives. So I want to mention, being a New York City native, that grind, hustle it's in my bones. Okay, I think all of us can relate, especially being a single woman, always having to fend for yourself, support yourself. I even remember being profiled as a potential crook with one of my jobs because something went missing, and of course, oh, I'm the single woman. How do I support myself working this job? They did not know I had 4 other jobs because it was none of anybody's business. But the beautiful thing was no one knew my story. Okay, so that's always power. Anywho, what I wanted to address was that a lot of the soft living has come as a result of being an expat. Now let me explain. Again, I come from hustle culture. That's what we thrive off of. That's what we're most proud of. At least that was my experience. I was most proud of that. Here in Europe, that's not a flex. That is not a flex, okay? Le joie de vivre. Okay, the joy of life. What you experience, how you treat people, your interactions, your daily interactions are the quality of your life, hence soft life. Oh, this is a perfect time for me to mention something. One of the reasons I created this channel was I wanted to educate the American public about life as an expat. And one thing that I think gets misconstrued, I'm going a little off topic here, but bear with me. One thing that I believe gets misconstrued is, oh, Europeans have six weeks vacation every year. No, not really, not really. Okay, here's how it happens. We get the normal 2 weeks paid vacation, such as we do in the States. Now, in August, a majority of the businesses shut down for vacation. Okay, so as a result, a lot of employees have a vacation. But here's the thing, that is not paid for. Okay? Now, because a lot of businesses like restaurants and bars and things of that nature cannot afford to shut down for an entire 4 weeks. Some of them will shut down for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, so on and so forth. So there is some kind of balance there. And depending on what industry you work in, that might be your vacation. 1 week, 2 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks. But here's the thing, again, they are not paid for that. So please, please stop glorifying that. Stop glorifying that. In my experience, if you present most Americans with a choice of 4 weeks of no pay versus working for at least 2 of those weeks and getting paid, most people are going to pick getting paid. And it's not so much because they necessarily want to. A lot of us cannot afford that. Oh, that leads me into something else. The system here, people do not make the same salaries that we are used to in the States. I have friends who have PhDs and barely make what I made selling makeup in the States. So that's just a little education for you. So getting back to the South Life, okay, as you can see, this is why I put my shawl on and feeling very cozy up against the rain, up against the natural backdrop. If it weren't for, as I mentioned previously, South Life is really about finding your rhythm. Okay, and that is a lot of what European culture is built off of. Enjoying aperitifs on the terrace, enjoying conversations. That's also why they say French women don't get fat. They don't eat cheese, they taste cheese and bread and butter and things of that nature. By taste, I mean tiny little morsels at a time. They don't eat it to fill up. So it's really about staying in the moment. And if it weren't for this idea of staying in the moment or this approach to life, I never would have met my husband. And by that, what I mean is I arrived in this tiny little cul-de-sac. As you can see, you're not going to see anybody walking around, plus it is raining out. This tiny little cul-de-sac, which this plot of land that spans, I can't even say because there's so many dips and, vaults and things like that. The only way we came to meet is that I was coming home one night and I was literally living, it's not on this side, but on the other side. I was renting a suite in a house right across, like within a stone's throw away. I was exhausted. I was coming home one night and I stopped to take in the sunset. It was stunning. It was early fall. I guess we could say mid-fall at this point because it was around October-ish. And the sunset over the Mediterranean Sea against the backdrop of the mountains was just stunning. I'll see if I'll drop in a photo at some point. And because I stopped to take that photo and observe the sunset, my husband at the same time, well, my then neighbor at the same moment, came out onto the balcony to watch the sanglier off in the distance. Now the sanglier, you're not seeing, the sanglier usually, we feed the sanglier, and they come out sometime around sunset, just before dusk, and they come out to eat on the grains that we feed them. And so I also joined him in watching the sanglier from the opposite side of the street. He's on the balcony, and it was the first time I saw the sanglier come out to play. So that was a nice treat for me, being a city girl. But remember, had I not slowed down to appreciate the natural beauty in front of me, I would have missed the greatest blessing in my life. Okay? So, soft life is really, or at least I'm coming from it, it's really a question of finding your rhythm, finding your flow, and honoring it. Not rushing yourself. Have you ever noticed the times that you've either performed poorly at work, or the times you got sick, or the times you had an accident or bruised yourself, anything like that? It's usually because you were rushing or not honoring your flow. Okay. Now I realize that we all have deadlines and things, so that's not all. It's easier said than done. However, at the same time, sometimes it just means giving yourself extra time to get up in the morning to watch the sunrise. Those 5-10 minutes of personal time. Oh my gosh, what it does for your circadian rhythms, what it does for your creativity, what it does for your peace of mind is extraordinary. Extraordinary. Now, as far as soft life coupled with my New York City girl ambition, that's still a work in progress. Now, in order to address that, for me it was very simple. Okay, when I arrived, I kept in contact with the very same entrepreneurs and advisors that I used while I was at university. Only difference now is we meet over video. Okay, so for me, it was Small Business Association in conjunction with my alma mater, University of Metairie, Washington, go Eagles, and in Virginia, in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So it was a question of bringing with me into this soft space my actual ambition and maintaining those contacts as I eased into this soft life. So what I've been doing now, just to give you an update, my professional life has to do with branding the vineyard. Okay, my husband, I married into a very loving, albeit old school, traditional Southern French family, and they have very warm, very welcome people, but they're very salt of the earth, very old school. They still keep their books in a notebook, tiny little notebook with, what do you call that? Dog-eared pages and things of that nature. And I've been introducing the concept of allowing me to show them how some of the accounting software works, or maybe even introducing the vineyard to social media. So you can imagine. So that's actually another reason I started this channel, to share the beauty of not just this way of life, but also this land and, yeah, being an expat, New York City girl, New York City girl, expat. So thank you for joining me, and if this resonates with you, please, 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 I appreciate it if you subscribe. I am building a tribe. I'm building an intentional group, an intentional tribe of like-minded individuals so that we can learn from each other. And I've already learned so much just by reading your comments. So look forward to hearing your comments on this video, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.